Welcome to Mr. Smith and Brother Blue Zen. The Between Cousins show. I'm gonna just say it again.
Okay.
Welcome to Mr. Smith and Brother Blue Zen, the Between Cousins show. I'm Mr. Smith.
I'm Brother Blues in, and like you said, this is Between Cousins show. Welcome back.
Yes,
So, question for you. I'm going to ask this question every time. Is knowledge controlling you, or are you controlling knowledge?
I am learning to control the knowledge because it has been controlling me in
The
in, in
knowledge,
certain situations.
right?
Yes.
And it's only in certain. I would say it's in certain areas of your life, right?
Yeah.
Knowledge is controlling you.
Mhm.
It's like, and how do you know knowledge is controlling you? Of course, if you would
Have I known it?
answer, no, no.
You,
How would you? How do you know if knowledge is controlling you
how
versus
would
if you
I?
were controlling knowledge?
Well, I think it's mainly by a feeling, of whether it's something that I have control over or something that is influencing me or affecting me. And I don't know if that's the right answer, but
So well, not that the right or wrong answer is more of a what I was looking at is, you have a heavy emotion around it.
hmm yeah.
That's how you know that knowledge is controlling you, right? I mean,
hmm
always going to have a feeling, you're always going to have an emotion, but it's like you have this heavy emotion behind it. Kind of like
hmm
what we're talking about in 5 levels of attachment,
Right.
right? So when you have a specific, depending on the level of attachment you have, you may have these heavier emotions. Yeah, you're going to still feel love. You're going to still feel, okay, this doesn't feel good to me. Um, but you're not going to let it live your life, right? You're not
Right.
going to let it run your life. But
hmm
if you have this heavy emotion of like, oh my God, I feel so wronged and I have to get back at these people because I'm so wrong, and then the situation was, okay, somebody made a mistake with something. Oh no, it's not a mistake. You wronged me because you firmly believe that, there's no mistake in it, right? It's just that's your firm belief. You have this attachment to they can only be this one way.
hmm
And I'm mad at you because you said, um, I don't know,
Or
called
you
me
did
you
that
called
mistake
me
on
you
purpose.
called me a name,
Right.
right? Or you cut me off on the true road, right? Okay, maybe I didn't see you, right? It's like we make these assumptions and then we build this, we go into and look at our attachments, we're like, oh, okay, well, this is what happened here. So I'm gonna be mad at this person,
hmm
right? Um, and I'm gonna make a big deal out of it. Versus, okay, it happened. The situation's over. I'm okay, you're okay. Okay, leave it alone.
Right.
Right? There's no attachment to it. But when you're attached to that specific this is more of like so level three, I'll give you an idea. So chapter 7 is level three, which is identity. You're identifying
Okay.
with whatever it is. Like, and I'll bring up something I don't normally want to bring up, possible, like a heavy topics, but like,
Okay.
racism, idea of
Okay.
racism.
hmm
Okay. Um, it's been a big one. Like it's a big one. And as I observe, the world, I don't see per se racism. I see bias. I see a lot of bias being turned into, oh, that's racist. Because for some reason, the idea of being racist is way worse than being biased, but being racist is just being biased. Like it's the same thing. There's no difference between the two, right? It's just, but with a bias, it can be with anything,
hmm
right? Racism is being biased towards a race and color, right? Versus a bias, you just have a bias to, um, oh, I don't eat fish. I'm biased. Fish will give you this. You'll make up something for, oh, fish. You're gonna get, oh, like, what is a good one? It's like, oh, you're gonna get salmonella. So you could get salmonella from raw fish, but you're gonna get mercury poisoning because you're fishing in the ocean and you're pulling up the sea bass and it's got mercury in it. So you're gonna get mercury poisoning, right? That's a full like belief, right?
hmm
I'm a vegan. You can't eat meat. That's an identity. I
Right.
identify as a vegan. Anybody that eats meat is a terrible person. They probably, I don't know if they believe that or not, but
Right.
I'm just being like the extreme version of
Right.
that, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm a vegan. It's like everything I eat it has to be plant. I'm so vegan that it's like I don't even eat eggs. You can't eat eggs. So I'm going to make an alternative, right? And it's like, it's good. You made an alternative and stuff, but it's still a bias.
hmm
It's an identity, and you have this bias towards this identity. If you know what I'm saying,
Right. Uh-huh.
I'm like I'm black, and so black people experience XYZ.
Uh-huh.
Okay, sure, everybody experiences XYZ, but okay,
Different.
right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Everybody experiences it in one way or another.
Hmm.
Everybody experiences being a bias. Everybody experiences racism. Everybody experiences all this stuff.
Hmm.
It's not just one race, creed, or culture. Maybe at a certain time, okay, this was happening at a certain time, and this is happening at a certain time, but it's like, but that's just stuff happening. That's not anything that you can attach to it and say that, oh, well, this is a picture book of racism. Well, isn't it really a picture book of racism, or is it just somebody being a bigot?
Hmm.
Like somebody that has they have the wrong information. They were never given the right information. They were never given a way to see to view the world from a different perspective.
Right.
It's just
So
that's all it is.
instead of being mad at them, you could feel
Well,
sad for them
have a little bit of grace. Have a
because
little bit
they
of grace,
right.
right?
Hmm.
So because one, it's like they're really only hurting themselves in that fashion. They're not. It's not hurting me.
Right.
Now, and I know there are some situations. I get it. I mean, there's situations. There's always situations where it's just like, okay, that is blatantly did not need to happen, right?
Right.
But if we really think about it, we energetically we attract the way we see ourselves. Like we were just having a conversation about what you call it, looking in the mirror, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Or seeing yourself, and you were giving the analogy of you were watching this artist who had this person. He didn't look at them, but he described themselves.
Right.
He had the person describe themselves to him, and he drew them. And
Right.
then he had their friends or people that knew them to describe them
Right.
and draw them as well. And so, and I believe what you said was that the drawing of himself that the person gave of themselves was like this
Right.
darker, like a more of a negative light
Right.
versus what people saw. Right?
Yes.
People saw this in this other light, but it's the same way. It's like, oh, I can see myself as being justified as okay, this person wronged me in this way, so
Hmm.
I'm going to go beat them up. Right? That makes me justifies my thing because they did this to me. Okay, maybe. I don't know. I can't tell you what justice is for everyone. It's the same thing for everyone. But the thing is that did you actually sit back and listen to verify that it's like what you thought, what you were thinking they did was really what they did?
Right.
Because sometimes people say stuff because it's like things mean different things to everybody. Like
Hmm.
even in the world today, it's like the words that people use like I'm just like or phrases that people use, like especially these kids. I'm
Yeah.
just, I'm like I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind with some of the stuff they say. Like literally, like my son he goes, man, I was low key going to beat that dude. I'm like, you were low key going to beat that dude, or low key I did this, or low key I was feeling like this. I'm like, oh, but low key doesn't go with any of that. Like low key means that you're in the background and you're like, oh, I'm low key, right? Well,
I'm low key gonna
basically,
criticize.
yeah, I'm low key going to criticize somebody in my mind. Right? I don't know what that means really, but so I'm just, but it cracks me up because I pick up on that every time. One of my athletes, we were jumping and I was telling her, oh, you need to do this, this, and this, and she was like, oh man, she goes, oh, I was thinking it was this. I was like, I'm just like,
Yeah. Let me just ad lib and slide
it's such,
a term
it doesn't.
a popular term in there. Right.
Well, it's just yeah, they're just using a phrase that they heard someone else say. So
Hmm.
they're repeating something what someone else said, and I don't know. It I understood them, but at the same time, it's like they didn't even need to put low key in front of it. Like I don't even know what low key. I don't know what that phrase does for you to say, hey,
Yeah.
I low key did this, other than the fact that well, you didn't do this, so low key doesn't do anything. It's just you either did or didn't. Low key doesn't play a
And
role in it, right?
I'll admit it. I'm gonna say I'm old, so maybe I don't because it took me a while to get to no cap, and I was just like no
It's,
cap. Why did
it's
you
no cap.
like cap on cap is basically that's a lie. Instead of saying it's a lie, no, that's cap. That's cap. No cap.
Um, so
He's like that's another one.
okay,
Yeah.
there's no logic behind any of that. Like you can't just take a word and say, well, this word means this.
Right.
Like you can't do that. And that's the world we live in now is people are taking things and they're saying, oh, it's this. Well, no, it's not. Well, it is
Mhm.
because I want it to be that. And then a lot of people follow it, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, we made this a trend. Well, no, you guys are like trending, but you like looking low key dumb. You know what I'm saying? I'm like low key or high key, maybe high key, right? It's like because it's
Yeah,
like
nobody uses high key. That's not even made yet.
I'm like high key. You saw me do it, Like I don't know, dude. Like it's just
A high key
I
look
just
dead in your
and
eyes.
and so I have to. Yeah, high key look to you guys. I'm doing it right now. Look at you. But so and the thing is that it's like I know I'm making fun of it and
Yeah.
I'm making light of it and I get it. It's a way of communication because the way we communicate is just ridiculous in the first place.
Hmm.
We use a bunch of words. We make these agreements with that these words. This word means this, and right now what's happening is it's all falling. All that is falling apart because now people are taking words and using them in ways that is like, well, this word was meant to be used in that way. So it's like, but then it's like you go, okay, let me take myself out of my, um, I guess not education, but my the way that I was taught, right? Let me take everything that I was taught and then come back to this. And it's like, oh, because one, that word could mean what they're saying it means.
Hmm.
That just wasn't my agreement that was what that word means,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
And the thing is that I want to communicate clearly. So if I'm going to try to communicate with you, I can only communicate with you with how I understand the words mean, or the phrases mean, or how to use it. That's the only way I can communicate it,
Right.
right? Now, if you speak a different language, it's going to come across totally different, right?
Hmm.
But now we're at the point to where you're speaking English, and I don't understand what you're telling me because you're using a bunch of different words. Like the kids were telling me something that I was at a track meet. They're like, "Oh, yeah, coach is being all riz at the track meet," and I'm like Ralph Tresvant. Like, what are you guys talking about? Like, Rizzo, the Rizziest.
Riz, from my
I know.
understanding, is yeah, yeah,
I know. Well, so I looked it up, and it was funny because I looked it up, and I'm sitting there, and I go, "Oh, so it's like I'm like macking, like sitting
yeah,
there, being sweet on somebody, right?"
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
no, they told me no, and I'm like, "Oh," and then later they told me the same thing, and it was because I was talking to someone at the track meet. They're like, "Oh, coach is being all Riz," and I'm like, standing having a conversation, and you guys are worried about me being Riz. I'm like,
You were so,
crazy.
and basically it's just flirting, basically.
And it's charming. It's being charming is
Okay,
what it
okay.
is. It is
Hmm.
not specifically flirting. It means you're being charming, but that doesn't equate to anything, right? Because
Hmm.
one, Riz is not a real word other than like I'm rizzing her, I'm rizzing him. Like
Right.
I don't know.
The art of the Riz.
Yeah, I'm like I'll leave that term for Ralph Tresvant because he's the rizziest dude. This rhythm is rated R. The Rizzo. That's what he says at the end of that. So anyway, so this is getting back to the book. So we're getting into chapter 7 of the 5 levels of attachment. So this is level 3, identity.
Yes.
So I identify myself with my knowledge, although I use it to see and understand the world. Um, so I'll go ahead and start getting into it. We have a need to name, describe, and understand the things we engage with in life. What we're just talking about. Like we're making these perceptions with everything we engage in, and we're making these descriptions. We're giving it a name. We're using certain phrases, right?
Right.
Um, Knowledge allows us to understand the world and the universe. But when it comes to understanding ourselves, our identity is a symbol that can be wrapped up in an expression of our knowledge. From the stance of knowledge, identity is the grounding sense of self that allows us to have our place in the dream of the planet. It gives us a point of reference by which we identify and engage with one another. But this identity is a mask that blurs our awareness of the authentic self. And attachment at this level occurs when we identify ourselves with our knowledge. The Toltec tradition, in the Toltec tradition, the mirror is still a clean reflection at the identity level. But it is here that we begin to lose the awareness of the line that separates life and the reflection in the mirror. This is where we begin to believe that the reflection is the truth. The main condition for acceptance in the dream of the planet is that our identity is recognized in a world of 7 billion souls. Although we do not discriminate ourselves forming this identity, domestication occurs in level 4, internalization. Um, by adopting it, I don't know why they put that phrase in there, we are hoping to understand by our community and thus ourselves. So, in wanting to be heard by the dream of the planet, our voice takes on an identity to express itself, or so we think. When we use knowledge to construct the dream of us, or the dream of the planet, our identity is the mask by which the dream of the planet will understand us. When speaking mind to mind, knowledge recognizes knowledge. So we become attached to the mask of our identity. At this level, we forget that the mask is our identity. The mask of our identity is an empty symbol, just like the word whose definition is subject to an agreement by us and the use of knowledge in the dream of the planet. Just as language can change over time, so too can our identity, our identity mask. As we increase our attachment to our identity, knowledge and consensus become very important to us, to the point where they give us meaning in life. So we construct the mask of our identity by becoming the embodied, or so I say the embodiment of our acquired knowledge in the form of our passion. This is a mask based on our preferences in life. Everyone we meet has a name and an identity with a meaning to go along with the name. Identity can be used on things like the color of our skin, the nationality of our family, um, the religion we practice, the political party that best reflects our belief in the sports team that allows us to the excitement of winning and losing, the work we engage in every day, and the activities we love to participate in. Our name and identity give us a purpose and a sense of belonging. Sorry, there was like some buzzing in the background. I was like, I don't know if it's coming. Was it coming across the feed?
Nope.
No. Okay. Yeah, it was distracting me, and I'm like, oh, should I stop? Should I fix it?
No, no, you're good.
Okay. Um, for example, think of people you know, and the identities either they have assumed or you have ascribed to them. Patty the teacher, Scott the fireman, Joe the next door neighbor, the nosy next door neighbor. Okay. Jose the brother. What identities have you adopted for yourself? How do you portray those identities in the world? When you are at a level 3, you confuse these identities with who you really are. As adults, we still have the ability to play make believe like we did when we were children. That is, we still have the ability to create a mask based on our knowledge of how to engage one another in a particular setting. But as adults, the mask becomes a way to adapt socially and relate to a group with whom we are interacting with. And we have forgotten that this is just a mask. We think this mask is us. To return to a sport metaphor, consider how non-football fans can get so involved in Super Bowl parties, knowing that it's fun and exciting to invest something of oneself in the game. Non-football fans will likely choose a side to root for, eagerly climbing aboard the emotional roller coaster of the game. But when the game is over, whether or not the favored team has won, a person at a level of preference, level 2, will be able to walk away from the game detached from the moment. Now, contrast that with the fans who may be out of sorts for days if their team loses, or incredibly jubilant if their team is victorious. Having forgotten to remove the mask, they are attached at a level 3. The identity level, at the identity level, the authentic self has the mask of the attachment in the form of identity. This level of attachment can feel great when your team wins or when things are going your way. But as life shows us, what goes up must come down, and no one wins all the time. That is why suffering inevitably occurs when you are attached at this level. We won't always be able to get what we want, but instead of having a preference and moving on if things don't go our way, at this level we become attached. Let's continue with the example of the vegan woman. At this level, she now calls herself a vegan, a symbol of her preference, even when she is not engaged in a meal. Her identity as a vegan gives her a purpose and a place in her community. And when she makes choices, her identity as a vegan is reflected. If she were to have ice cream, she may feel disappointed in her choice, but after a short time, she will forgive herself and move on. She does not place unreasonable conditions on herself or self acceptance based on her identity, nor do her friends and family need to be vegan in order to be in her life. She still has respect for others' manifestations of their personal dreams, just as she has respect for her own manifestation. These are the hallmark level. These are the hallmarks of level 3. We have donned the mask of identity and forgotten it is a mask. This forgetting of who we really are, the authentic self, leads to some suffering, but generally not an inordinate amount. So, in the next level, internalization, our attachment to knowledge becomes more pronounced. Domestication occurs, and we cause suffering for ourselves and those around us. So, that's chapter 7.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Um,
Questions?
that last one with that you did with the vegan woman,
Mhm.
identifying as vegan and using that ID or that mask, that one stuck out to me just because it's like, oh, I'm vegan. Like, okay,
Well,
all right, is that all you're good for in this
well,
world?
so yeah, and in that
Or
description, he talks about okay, yeah, she's a level 3 vegan, so she identifies as a vegan, but she doesn't. How do you put it? She doesn't put unnecessary or unreasonable conditions on herself because she's at a level 3,
all right,
right? And she's not requiring any family members or anyone, oh, you
participate.
guys can eat meat,
Right.
you guys do whatever you want to
Mm-hmm.
do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, that one sticks out to me too because um, I don't know, I don't really identify with a lot of things. Like I do certain things, like I haven't, I've been staying away from meat, specific type of meats, and then lately I've had some tuna.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday when I went to the graduation party, I had I think they had some what was it called? Some steak. It was like some
Okay.
slices of steak, and I had a few pieces, right? But for the most part, I don't really eat a lot of meat.
Right.
But does that make me a vegan? Well, might be more vegetarian because I eat eggs, right? But then again, it's like, oh, what does it matter?
Yeah.
To me, what does it matter? It's like I'm going to eat whatever I feel like eating because one, I've learned to eat what my body needs because I pick up on what I resonate with or what I'm craving, right? I kind of
Mm-hmm.
take my cravings and I'm like, okay, I'm craving this. This is what I should eat.
Mm-hmm.
Craving that. This is what I should eat. Oh, when I eat this, it does this to me. When I eat that, it feels great, right? I've done the work for the most part to kind of figure out what my diet should look like, what I should be eating, how many times I should be eating, how much I should be eating, right? It's like 'cause if you eat too much, right? There's so many different aspects of it. It's like I've done the self awareness work, but I can't see myself identifying with any type of like, oh, I'm what is the one paleo? I do paleo, or I can't see myself identifying with any of that because it's just it doesn't make sense to me. Like it's like I'm going to eat what I'm craving and it's like, and I'm going to actually dissect, or should I say, use some discernment within what I'm craving to see what it is my body's actually looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Then, if it's something that it's like I know I don't normally eat, I might self test, do some energy testing for it or whatever. But so I don't, so it's hard for me to identify with that. But I do have the identity of, so I met up with some friend of mine's, a couple of friends of mine. Their daughter graduated high school,
Right.
and so I went down to Tucson, Arizona, to go see this. And there was a lot of people from New Mexico State that I went to New Mexico State with that I used to party with and just have a good time with. And so to them, I was in college. My nickname was Brother Blue. So that's an identity,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I was talking to my friend. I hadn't seen their kids in a while. I hadn't seen them in a long time. And so their youngest, who was like sitting next to me, and she was talking to my other friends, older kids. And I go, well, who's your parents? She goes, she's like, and she tells me, and I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, you're so and so. They haven't told you about the legend of Brother Blue. So I'm just like, it's like just having fun. And so she goes and asks her dad, and he was like laughing. He's like, yeah, the legend of Brother Blue. Because he's the one that gave me the nickname. He's
All
actually the
right.
one that gave me the name. So
Okay.
it was just funny, the legend of Brother Blue. Because in college, it was like that's what people knew me as is Brother Blue.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now it's like I'm Brother Blue Zen. I've added the Zen to it, so it's kind of a. what I've done with it is not really like this identity. It's kind of like this. Okay, this was the not really the party Brian, but the social Brian with Brother
Mhm.
Blue, right?
Right.
But Zen is like this balanced social, right?
Mhm.
Socially balanced. Like that's how I see that. And
Mhm.
that's and not that I want to identify as socially balanced, but that's what I strive for.
Right.
I don't want to be, being in this field towards like feeling energy. I pick up on things. I see stuff like my intuition is just, I mean, sometimes it's beyond what I would ever expected to have type of intuition. But um, so I want to be socially balanced because I don't want to be overreactive. I don't want to be underreactive, right? I want to be, personable. Like the way that I see myself. So we talk about these identities and the different levels. Now, if I'm not sociable, it's like some days I'm not feeling like it. Some days I am. But there's no like, but I don't identify as Brother Blue. It's just kind of like, but with this group of people, it's like, hey, I'm Brother Blue, right?
Mhm.
I don't have no attachment to being Brother Blue.
Right.
Right. It's just a fun identity for me.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So
And
there's
a
like,
low
there's no, yeah.
and would you consider that a low level attachment because you're not saying I'm Brother Blue, remember me, I'm Brother Blue. It's just
Well, it's like
it's that
yeah,
common connection that you
preference that
had.
I have to be Brother
Right.
Blue, right?
Uh-huh.
Like it's just like with this, it's like I don't have to be Brother Blues in. That's just I needed to come up with a name for social media.
Right.
You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? And it's like, and you come up with stuff. It's like, hey, we put this together. But then I also did it from a numerology standpoint. I'd have to go pull the thing out, but it's a specific number. Um, I
The
think it's
the
like
blue Zen or just the Zen?
brother blues in is a specific number. So you take all the letters and each letter is associated with a different number and you add it up. And I think it came out to like 8, which is like business. I think that's what it came out to. Like I'd have to go look at. So I know Zen
Right.
itself is 9.
Uh-huh.
So like completion, um, endings, um, like yeah, like endings. So it's like Zen is always like, okay, hmm, I am complete. I'm a complete person. So Zen, that's what Zen means. It's like you're being complete, mind, body, soul. And so Brother Blue, I'm trying to remember what that number came out to. Yeah, I'd have to
Right.
go look at the
Right.
numbers, but that's what I use. So it wasn't like I just picked this because I want this to be my persona. It was like I looked at it and I used all this different logic and understanding to be like, okay, yeah, this is a perfect name. You know what I'm saying? Zen
Right.
athletic skills. There was a purpose behind my other business, Zen athletic skills. It's because I wanted to bring more of a mindful approach to sports training.
Right.
To do an athletics. So it's like, I want you to, be aware, bring those awareness to yourself as opposed to just doing some action. Right. So there's always a purpose behind what I'm doing. And so I understand that purpose. Now, am I attached to that purpose? No, I strive for that purpose, but there's no attachment to it. Right. It's like sometimes it works out. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes this piece, I'm missing this piece, like we were talking earlier. Um,
But do you
uh,
think that's more of like an under current of like support that would kind of give you like maybe focus or direction at some point, or is that just something that you
so think about it. So it's a business, right? So it's like
uh-huh.
this is the direction I want the business to go,
Right. Okay. Uh-huh.
right? So it's not me personally, it's the business. Now, I being that it's like I'm the only person running the business, I guess it is kind of me, but it's like, but it's the direction I want the business to go, which is why
Gotcha.
I got the energy medicine because that helps me to adapt all this stuff and actually understand what it is I'm actually trying to do.
Got
So,
it. Okay.
um,
So it's not a mission statement or anything like that, but it's just like it's a direction that you're
well,
going.
the mission statement is a mindful approach to sports skills training. That is literally
Got it.
on my business plan. That was my what you call it, my mission statement.
Got it.
To have
Okay.
so yeah, but it's applied to the business,
Hmm.
right? Um, Now I'm sure there's other places where I might have like a different levels of attachment. Certain things. I mean, I can't think of them right now. I don't
Right.
think I want to share any of them. Okay, but 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 in a sense, can you think of a place where you might be a level 3, where where it's like your identity?
Um, I'm trying to think of right off the spot and I think that I can just think of one right now with football. I don't really fit the norm on football itself, just when because I never I'd say a true football fan, or a football, a classic football fan, just to use that terminology. They grew up and they chose the team, or whatever. They have this authentic story, whereas mine is just like, oh, my sister bought me a jersey because I live down in
Yeah.
San Diego, and I like the Chargers, but I just kind of adopted them, and then later on, I got another jersey from another team, and they now those both those teams happen to be playing at the same stadium. So I adopted both, and everybody looks at me like, "Well, I guess you're not really a football fan." But I'm just like, I like watching it, but I'm not
So
attached to that.
that's interesting. That's interesting that people. So the interesting thing you said is like, oh, I guess you're not a football fan. Well, what is being what is it? What does having a favorite team have to do with football? It doesn't.
Right,
Football itself is just I like football.
right,
I like the game. I like to watch the game. Doesn't matter who's playing it, right?
right,
Um, versus a specific sports team fan.
right.
Because I'll tell you this is like most people, a lot of people are these sports teams fans, but they don't actually like the sport. They
Mm,
don't play the sport. They
right,
don't do anything with the sport, but they like watching it, right? So there's a difference in there, and it's funny that that people get offended if you don't like a specific team, or if you don't have, oh, I have my favorite team. Like for some reason, sometimes people get offended, but that's just telling you that they're at a specific level of attachment with football.
right.
You have to like a team. You have to like this. Like I always have these conversations with people about basketball, NBA. Like I can't. I used to be diehard Lakers fan
Hmm.
from the '80s.
Right.
Magic Johnson, Michael Cooper, AC Green. Used to love me some AC Green. You know, Phil Rambis. Like I name all these cats, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, and in fact, Dennis Rodman was on the team at one point. Like later on,
Uh-huh.
like with with it was it with Nick Van Exel and like the '90s, Rodman came in as got Nick Van Exel.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then we got the which got Shaq's on the team, and then now
Hmm.
we got the Kobe came in, and then the Fisher, like all these different
Uh-huh.
players,
Cedric
and
Ceballos.
they Cedric Sabalos, man, but it was always Showtime,
Uh-huh.
always Showtime, right? Even through Kobe was like it was always Showtime, and then Kobe got out, and then all of a sudden Showtime just kind of died.
Hmm.
Actually, just died. And and this is probably where I have more of an attachment because it's like I like the basketball when there was a lot of rules that you had to follow and that you can actually play a little bit physical
Right.
because it's a physical game.
Hmm.
And so they took a lot of the physical out of it, but then they also said, "Oh, well, now you could take 3 or 4 steps, and now you can pick up the ball and then dribble it again, but that's not double." And it's like, "Oh, but you just basically made it into like some street ball game and you're calling fouls for every little thing. Like it's not fun anymore to watch. Like they don't battle back and forth. It's just I'm just going to shoot a three.
Uh-huh.
I'm 7 foot and I'm shooting threes. I don't want to see a 7 footer shooting. I don't want to see that. Like
Right.
it's not a game anymore. It's just like people be overpaid people running around
Well,
and
I
everybody's
think.
praising him. Like that's what I see.
Mhm.
And everybody sees it from a different perspective. But again, I
Right.
come from back in the day where you've got, you know, the bad boys over in Detroit, just pummeling people. Bill Lamere used to just knock people out. And you were just like, oh, you could feel it. And they get up, and you just feel the game, right? Where
Uh-huh.
now it's like all, oh, no, I'm gonna fall. I was like, but it's like, oh, but he's the greatest player in the world. I'm like, not really. Like it's like, and I can come
Yeah.
up with, being a Virgo, I can come with a million reasons why someone's not the greatest player in the world.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
that's not what I want to have the conversation is. So it's like I have this attachment to this is how basketball used to be.
Right.
This is how basketball should be played. And if
Hmm.
it's not played this way, I don't like it.
Right.
So
Hmm.
that is an attachment. That is actually an attachment that I have. But I was attached to the Lakers at a certain point where it was just like if they lost, yeah, I felt bad, but I didn't let it get to me for like weeks or months. It was just like, okay, they lost the game, whatever, right?
Right.
I still kind of let it go, but that was my team.
Hmm.
Doesn't mean I didn't like other players on other teams, because I base everything off of one. Okay, I'm watching you play. It's like, oh, did you put in work for that? Or was that just given to you? Like
Right.
there's a big difference to me, right? It's like these, certain players put in a lot of work, and then other players, yeah, you might see a video of them like this is their workout regimen, but it's like, but yeah, who cares about that workout regimen? What are they doing before the game? What are they doing to make the rest of their team better?
Hmm.
Nothing, right? Most of the time, they're not doing anything to do that. So, but again, that's just how I internalize and process stuff. To make it right or wrong.
Right.
That's just the way that I process it. So, well, yeah, when we're talking about the attachment, so I'm probably at a level, with basketball, should I say, with basketball having to be a certain way, I'm probably like a level 4 attachment.
Hmm.
It's internalized. It's like my knowledge is like you can say it's kind of domesticated because it's like I domesticated myself to like basketball to be this a specific way. Um, but I'm not hardcore for it has to be this team or that team. It's Michael Jordan is the best or this is the best. It's like no, I'm like so that's what I'm talking about. Like when it comes to that, the attachment. So I was like, so let me ask the question again. It's like, what about yourself, your personal self, not football, not anything
Yeah,
else.
yeah.
So
Personal
you might
self.
have an attachment on, playing music. You have a specific
Yeah,
instrument.
yeah.
You have an attachment to, or should be played in a specific way, or I mean, even attachments with food that you eat.
Hmm.
Oh, I need to be eating this. Like you got the coconut water. I
Hmm.
need to hydrate, right? Well, what's telling you you're not hydrated? What's making you feel that you're not hydrated?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Is
Right.
it an attachment that you're like that you need to hydrate? You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Because with our diets can actually be attachments, like they say, vegan. I know some people that were doing not paleo, but the what's the other one that's just all fats,
Keto.
keto diet,
Hmm.
right? And then when I would ask them about it, and I'd be like, okay, that's good. Well, I'm what about ketones? And I'm like, well, you do realize that ketones are only produced when you're starving. And they looked at me and they're like, no, that's not true. And I'm like, no. The only time the body uses ketones is when your body's starving because that's energy. And that's the whole purpose of a keto diet or a fast is to get the ketones because when your body's using ketones, that means that it's burning the bad stuff off out of your body, right?
Right. Hmm.
And it's clean itself cleaning because it has to in order. It is basically making energy off of grime and crud,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
Within the
it's recycling and
body.
burning up those old cells. Right. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it's just so basically that's what it's doing. So it's like it's regenerating itself but eating itself at the same time. Like it's like
And
this. It's this whole process.
in that
And so
same respect is with the
now,
hot and cold that we do with the cold plunge and the
oh, I
heat
know.
sauna.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is the same thing. Is that what that's supposed to be?
Different things you do have different effects on the body. So
Yeah,
they say, if you do the cold plunge or you do the face in the cold water or something like that, that's supposed to activate something in your body to have like the survival mode or something so that you start burning brown fat or
yeah.
whatever it is.
Or just like standing in a posture, right?
Hmm.
We talk about standing in specific postures, and you hold it for up to 5 minutes. And after about 2 minutes, it's like your legs are shaking. Like say you're standing and okay, my legs start shaking, and then it's like okay, and then you get past to like 3 minutes, and then it's like okay, now that stops shaking. But what happens is you have to stabilize. But what you're doing is you're building heat in the tendons and ligaments
Hmm.
because that's what stabilizes you, right? You're not using the big muscles when you first get into that posture. Guess what you're using? The big muscles. But the big muscles aren't strong enough, no matter how big they are, aren't strong enough to hold the body together to keep the bones from falling, moving, right? You can see
Hmm.
these people, these dudes with these big old quads, right? But then they still blow the knee out. Why? Because they didn't do any work on the tendons and ligaments, the stabilizing muscles, right?
Right.
Um, so, and I know we kind of got off of the levels of attachments, but
Right. But yeah, but I was just looking at that too. I had written down earlier, like, we ID by, color of our skin, the sports, the culture, work, all those activities are different things that we can look at. But then also I was just thinking about this whole thing is also, you know, as you said before, is awareness, of seeing what these attachments mean to us individually and what our perspective is on that.
well, yeah, I'm gonna say the awareness is knowing there's an attachment, right?
Hmm.
Then you find understanding in the attachment, right? The
Hmm.
understanding of the attachment is not the awareness. right? The awareness is what makes you want to look for some understanding. The understanding is what actually gives you the um, how do you put it? Allows you to move to a place to whether you keep it or let it go. Do I need this as an attachment serving me or is it not serving me? Right? That's what the whole So again, it's like awareness, understanding, and then it's either releasing or holding on to. Right?
Yeah, it's a process.
And that's where the discernment is. Right? So it's a
Yeah, the discernment is after is
after the
within that
understanding.
understanding. Right.
Yeah, once you find the understanding, then you can have the discernment as to yes or no.
What is your definition of discernment?
So to discern is to like figure out, to decide, to um uh, hmm, yeah, I don't know the textbook definition of it, but when I say discernment, it's like say that you're trying to make a decision about something and
Hmm.
you're not sure, right? And you go and you look up, you get all this information online. It's like, well, this says that vegan diet does this for you, and this one says the vegan diet doesn't do that for you, and this one says this, right? Being able to go through all that information and find understanding is discernment.
Ah, okay.
So, like I would say, discernment is the awareness, is the understanding of awareness of what you're being aware of. I'm trying to,
Yeah,
that even
and
sounds right, but
textbook is ability to judge well. Yeah.
yeah, click on the mouse clicks.
Yeah. Clinky clicky. Yeah, so it means they possess the ability to perceive, understand, and judge things clearly, especially those that are not obvious. So if you're looking at three different things and trying to decide which one, you
Well,
know.
and it may be a combination of the themes, right?
Hmm.
Because you're building that understanding, through the information, like you're getting the knowledge.
Hmm.
And so instead of knowledge controlling you, you're controlling the knowledge, and then you're making a discernment of that knowledge.
Right. Hmm.
So you. So let me see how long we've been on here, sir.
Uh, I don't know. Doesn't tell me the time.
I know it doesn't say. I don't know. We can move into chapter 8, or we can just do
Yeah,
another
let's do
on
another one.
chapter 8. All right. So level 4, internalization. Is knowledge controlling you, or are you controlling knowledge? My identity in the form of my knowledge gives me the rules and guidelines by which I live my life. So the fourth level of attachment, internalization, describes a degree of attachment to knowledge where our identity becomes the model by which we accept ourselves. This is domestication through attachment. At this level, our narrators have begun to set the conditions by which we domesticate our identity. They measure our acceptance and rejection of ourselves and others based on the beliefs we use to construct the mask of our identity. We will distort the information we receive to reinforce the conditions of what we expect from life. The narrators also serve our need to validate who we are in our personal dream, as well as the face we present to the dream of the planet. Our knowledge is corrupted. It is no longer a clean reflection, but a smoky mirror. Our sense of self is a personification of our beliefs, and our will is subjugated by the need to fit in with the dream. Thus, our mask may not necessarily be in the form of our passion, but we will wear whatever mask we think we need to be accepted. At this level of attachment, our focus is on internalization, or so I say, internalizing an idealized version. Our focus is on internalizing an idealized version of our identity, and we may project a false image of self to secure our acceptance. This is the direct result of our domestication through conditional love. Acceptance is the reward of domestication, while rejection is the punishment. Although These conditions for acceptance and rejection may not be as rigid as the next level of attachment. They are learned and ingrained through the constant interaction we have with others. We use these conditions as guideposts for accepting and rejecting other people, but also and especially ourselves. The attachment is to the mechanism of acceptance and rejection itself, which corrupts knowledge to fit our sense of self and influences how we relate with life. At this point, we've lost our respect for ourselves and others, and conditional love is all we know. One day, one day I had just gotten back from being in the park in Teotihuacan, Mexico, and decided to go to my hotel room to rest for a couple of hours. I turned the television on to a program in which two young women were combing a beach in Mexico looking for the best and worst fashion on the beach. They were both dressed stylishly, and as they walked the beach with confidence, they critiqued and ridiculed whomever they judged to be poorly dressed. The camera would then zoom in on unflattering shorts of the unsuspecting beachgoers. In the segment, it seemed like everyone received a failing grade. Two hosts were apparently the only well-dressed people on the beach. Early in the segment, however, they ran into someone they deemed to be even better dressed than they were. One of the hosts walked up to the fashionable lady, showered her with praise, and asked her to share her fashion wisdom. The change in the host's demeanor was incredible. They went from being unmerciful judges to subjugated followers. As I watched the show, I couldn't help but think back to my teenage years where walking down the hall was very much like a television show. I had been both the recipient of criticism and the critic myself, working on an image where adulation was the expression of acceptance. I remember feeling uncomfortable when I was the focus for not meeting the standards of one group, and I remember how righteous I felt being the critic in the group I identified with. This kind of behavior isn't limited to appearances or trends. It occurs in spiritual circles, in the workplace, and in many other facets of life. The mechanism of our conditional love, the judge and the victim, has been mastered by many individuals. I have seen some people turn the identity of a Toltec into a catalyst for their own domestication by turning the agreements pursuit of personal freedom into conditions of acceptance, even rejecting others who engage in traditions that are different from ours. So it doesn't matter what the belief is, attachment at this level will corrupt it. We continue with our dietary example. Let's say the person who calls herself a vegan now uses her identity as the catalyst for her conditional love. In order to be worthy of her own love, she must be a strict vegan and not strict, lest she feels the wrath of her self-judgment. She surrounds herself with other vegans who will confirm the worthiness of being a vegan by accepting and judging themselves and others. She limits the people in her life who are not vegan and will try to domesticate the people who she loves to change their diet, feeling pity for them for not being awake to her point of view. Thus, it reminds me of like I heard awake, I'm like all woke. If they're not woke enough, they're not cool. It's like, okay. Anyway, thus, she is in constant conflict with points of view that do not side with her own. She is still eating a healthy diet, but she is imposing onto herself and others the knowledge that goes along with her preferences in life. Her mask of identity still reflects a passion of her authentic self, but the smoke has created a distorted image of the truth as domestication has set in. Only unhappiness stems from the judge and the victim mentality. Live up to these conditions and be accepted. We hide who we really are not, only from others, but also from ourselves. Or should I say, we hide who we really are, not only from others, but also from ourselves. We're completely confused, believing that the mask we have created is who we are. We create what we believe is an acceptable image for conditional love, regardless of our passion and preferences in life. And that project that image solely for the purpose of acceptance. The image of a luchador, a Mexican professional wrestler, comes to mind, always fighting for fame and fortune, while he is keeping his enemies from taking his mask off and exposing his true identity. He is also trying to take off the opponent's mask so that his shines brighter with glory. Attachment at this level results in disharmony between mind, body, and soul, and this is reflected in all of one's relationships. Only glimpse of peace comes through individual victories, and these moments are far from permanent. This is the version of the dream of the planet that appears to be in constant conflict. Identity.
Mm,
Thoughts.
wow. That's very interesting. And you know what I was picking up from that, and a couple of things that were that acceptance and rejection, and the masks that we pull on and off to in different situations and stuff like that to either survive or to function or
So, let's keep it at the level
okay.
of
Yeah.
the level of the attachment, right? So we're
Yeah.
not.
Internalization.
This isn't like level one or level two to where it was like, oh, I put on a mask for this, I put on a mask
Hmm.
here. This is like you believe you are the mask. The
Right.
mask is you. That's your identity, right?
Hmm.
So at this level, kind of like I like the analogy of the luchador,
Uh-huh.
right? He's got a mask on, and the other person's trying to take his mask off. You never know what this person looks like. Like no one knows, right? Because they always wear a mask. Um,
Right. The wrestlers, the luchador,
yeah.
the big, yeah, I got you. Uh-huh.
So put that on yourself. It's like, okay, I have this mask of like, say, I say I go with the identity of Brother Blue. Okay, if I'm
Hmm.
going to wear Brother Blue all the time, like I don't know if I'd survive something. I don't know. He's a cool dude. Brother Blue's a cool dude.
he's a
But
he's a
but
cool
you
dude
know,
in tough situations.
oh, he just doesn't handle situations very well. He might. I don't know. I know we were talking
But
about situations yesterday, but it's that I self identity. So like I mean they talked about like what was the other one? Judgment. So he's talking about the vegan. So talk about the lady that's the vegan, right?
right,
How she uses this to be like, okay, I can only be around people that are vegan. I only want that in my life, and then I'm very strict with myself,
right.
right? Stubborn. It's like I'm so strict with myself. Like I have to eat this way. I can't eat any other way. Um, and so, think about that for yourself. Is there certain areas of your life where it's like that's how you are with yourself, where you're
Mm.
attached to that? It's like I only want to be around people that do this, and you may
Uh,
not.
yeah,
I don't
I can't think of any right at the moment, but I do understand one thing that I don't want to be around is people that generate drama. That's one thing that I
generate drama.
yeah. If people are every time you turn around, it's drama this and drama that. I'm trying not to be,
So
around.
what inside you is attracting people with drama?
I don't think that's something that's is currently of an issue, but it's something that I guess I
I
look
know,
for
I'm just
in
messing.
interactions and people that I deal with, and it's like okay, whether they have
So
something
is
wrong
there
with
something
them.
you look for or something you notice?
I think more something I notice.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
I
because
don't.
if you're looking for
I'm
it, it's
not.
like I'm just like you're attracting it if you're looking
You're
for it. But if you
attracted.
just
No,
it's just something you pick up on, you're like, oh, okay, this person going here, right?
right. So I looked as an indicator. Look for indicators to say, okay, this is more drama related or whatever, or But
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just one thing that I can say right
Well,
off the
we'll
bat.
take it away from others, right?
Hmm.
It's like, how do you want to be perceived? Is there certain areas of your life where it's like, I want to be perceived this way, right? That's
Hmm.
identity.
Right.
Not what you're picking up on what other people are
Okay,
doing, but it's
gotcha.
like,
Yeah.
but it's all about yourself. This isn't about picking up on what other people are doing. This is about, okay, this is my identity. This is how these people see me, right? This is how
Right.
I see myself. So this is the way that I think other people see me.
So in the vegan example, she said, "I'm vegan and I only want to be around vegan people."
This one says she surrounds herself with others who will confirm the worthiness of being vegan, like
Ah,
seeing and judging themselves and others. So it's like she wants to be around like people, right?
right.
Um, I'll give like the analogy. So and I'm gonna take myself out of it because this is kind of like what I've experienced. So like I going through like these different holistic wellness programs, like an energy medicine program for one. So at the end of the program, they're like, okay, we're going over the business piece, and they're like, okay, what is your focus client? And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, how can I have a focused client when I can do so many different things?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would I want to pigeonhole myself in one client? And so I couldn't really answer that question. And she's like, well, you need to pick this. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm just going to say whoever requests my services,
Mm-hmm.
because that's really what this is about. This isn't about me focusing on one specific group of people, right? Because to me, that doesn't make sense. It's like I'm learning all these different things. Why would I do that? But that's just how I see it. But I had
Right.
one girl was like, oh, I want to, my family. I'm focused on my family, and so and so has this disease and that, and I want to focus on that. Another girl was like, I want to focus on people with PTSD, right? That's a big thing. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I started thinking about it, I was like, oh, I was like, these are things they identify with in themselves, which is why that they want to help other people with this, thinking that it's going to help resolve their own, PTSD or whatever it is that they have,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so a lot of times that's what we do is we tend to want to be around people that are going to confirm what we want to see in ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And not judge us for it.
Right.
One of the hardest things for me with the that I had to get past was being able to talk about different holistic wellness modalities and stuff like that. Being that a lot of people don't believe in that,
Mm-hmm.
so a lot of people they don't even understand it, right? Um, so as you can tell, I've gotten past that.
Right.
Like I'm like it doesn't, I'll have the conversation, but it's like, but I still pick and choose with who the conversation is going to be with because some people, maybe that doesn't come up, so I'm not going to just start a conversation on it,
Right.
right? Let me talk to you about um crystals and stuff. But if I see someone with a bracelet or something, I'm like, hey, what are those crystals? And I'll start seeing if I can them out, right?
Right.
What is this? Oh, that's obsidian, and that's that. And they're like, oh man, how do you know? You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh well,
Right.
maybe that's just it piques my interest because really what I'm getting at is like, oh, okay, how does that feel energetically for you? How did you pick these specific
Mm-hmm.
crystals? Like, I want to understand, where they're at energetically,
Mm-hmm.
and that's like, and then possibly giving them some advice if they need it or not, or just hearing what it is that and, same thing with tattoos. It's like, what was the inspiration for that tattoo?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not just oh, I wanted a covering, because some people just get tattoos and they don't really have a reason behind it. They're like, I liked it. It's
Right.
good. I mean, that's a fine reason, but at the same time, it's like, oh, well, will you like this in 10 years from now?
Mm-hmm.
Will you like this 20 years from now? Right? That
Right.
what what is it? And then what was the reasoning behind getting the tattoo? Because
Mm-hmm.
now you identify as a tattooed girl or a tattooed boy or a tattooed
Right.
whatever. Like now you identify with that.
Or
You see
yeah,
what I'm
in the
saying?
tattoo culture. Right.
Like I
Uh-huh.
have tattoos, but I don't sit there and be like, oh, I'm a tattooed guy. No. Half the time I mean, other than they're hidden sometimes and they'll see it and people are like, oh, what is that? I'm just like, oh yeah. This is me when I was 30. Like
Here's my guns, and then here's my
I was
tattoo.
like, actually you can see the no, yeah. I'm like, oh, you're talking about this guy? But not the
Right.
reason. No,
Right.
this was like you could tell I'm a 70s baby that was went to college in the 90s, right? Because this in the 90s everybody's getting bands.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yep.
Nobody really gets the bands anymore. But the tattoo that I would show off is on my chest, but I
Mm-hmm.
just don't show it because it's on my chest, and I
Right.
think I don't think it is appropriate in specific arenas to be like, oh, let me show you my chest. Like that's just
Right.
and that's just me, right?
Right.
That's just how I am. It's a
Mm-hmm.
but but I don't
And
identify. I don't come up to people and be like, oh, look at my tattoos. Like that's not what I got them for. Like it's like I got them for me.
right. You
They
don't show up
represent
with a
something
boombox
specific to me.
and play genuine. Right.
They genuine.
Right. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're saying for sure. Yeah.
Um, so it's just yeah. So it's funny when I read this. It's like I pick up on like certain things that I have like okay, I got a attachment to that. I got attachment to this. And actually, when I first read this book, which was years ago, there was a lot of attachments I had that I found that I had. And when you start digging into like a lot of these attachments, I mean, sometimes these attachments are the same thing as your shadows. Like it really is. It really does coincide with each other. It's like, oh, I got this attachment to this. And then you start looking at it as like, oh, that's something I need to let go of. The shadow. So they're to me, they're synonymous. And then someone else may interpret it totally differently. But to me, these attachments are because the one thing is the reason you have that shadow is because you have an attachment to whatever that shadow represents.
Now the in the book the excerpt we just read with the two women in the TV show and they're walking down the beach judging
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
everyone else. Um, when he uses that example, what is he trying to point out more specifically with
No,
his?
so notice how they're going and they're judging all these people and they're like, oh, you're dressed like that, and they're making fun of these people. And then they see someone they think is dressed better than them, and all of a sudden now they're followers. This is being judgy,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now all of a sudden they're groveling, like they
Uh-huh.
change their demeanor.
Uh-huh. Right.
So he was saying it was like they have this attachment to what people need to look like, you know, what is it? Let me see. What are we talking about? So they're do best and worst. Like they have this attachment to what's the best thing, what
Right.
looks good, what doesn't look good,
Uh-huh.
right? Basically, the whole show is based off of judging people.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And you're at a beach, so it's like, oh, okay, well, what is it? High fashion week at the beach? It's like you're at the beach.
Right. You got people about to jump in the water or
It's
getting
like,
out of the
yeah, it's
water.
like, what do
Right.
you expect? Like, it's like who like
Who's
some
going to be
people
fashionable at the beach?
get
Right.
super fashionable at the beach. It's like there's nothing wrong with one way or the other. It's just go to the beach.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but I get that. But this is, the analogy of that is just, you know, we tend to judge others for what we don't want to be or how we don't want to be,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay, no, we're not. We're best dressed, so we're gonna make you the worst dressed,
Mm-hmm.
right? Who knows what they were wearing? Like I don't know what they were wearing. Like
Right.
I half the time I can't sit through stuff like that because it's like I can't. That type of judgment is just to me is it's unnecessary, and it's individually it's individual preferences versus it actually being a reality,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's very hurtful in a
Right.
sense.
I like it when it's more constructive if they're actually putting together an outfit for somebody or something like
No,
that.
but
Yeah.
that, so there's a difference if someone comes and asks, "Hey, how can I, change up my looks?" Right?
Right.
Versus you coming and telling them, "Oh, you look like this." Like there's a difference. There's
Right.
a big difference.
You're a bum. Change
Zooming
your
and zooming
clothes.
in, zooming in on like, look, they got cut up shorts. Where it's like people pay hundreds of bucks for cut up shorts nowadays.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Oh, they look like a bum. Well, it's like I've seen some bums wearing some brand new clothes. I don't know what a bum's supposed to look like anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So,
You're right
um,
about that. Sometimes they look cleaner than I do. Not.
but yeah, but I mean, and this is all, really a lot of this is just, it's really about understanding, where you have the attachments because you're always going to have an attachment. You're always going to have a preference,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's always going to be a preference, but understanding where it comes from. And then instead of reacting because, the analogy of like they're talking about the sports team and, instead of being so, oh, it's got to be the Lakers, only the Lakers. Anyone that beats, oh, everybody else sucks. Well, no, not everybody else sucks. It's like there's a lot of great basketball players,
Mm-hmm.
right? So putting one in front of the other is just this year is like, okay, this team happens to be better. They're put together a little bit better. It's not
Right.
one player. I know we always try to make it about one player or two players. It's a team.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's just just stuff to think about. So that's level 4. So we do have level 5. So chapter 9. We'll save that for the next video. Mm. We'll do the next couple chapters. Yeah, we'll kind of go
Okay.
through the rest of this because the rest of these chapters are actually pretty good chapters, I think. So we'll do level 5 in the next video.
Right.
Chapter 9 in the next video. And then we'll talk about that. So any other questions or anything closing as far as attachments?
In closing, not a lot. Just
You're
something
you're
that.
frozen. You're frozen up, sir.
Oh, still frozen?
Yeah,
Oh, I'm not frozen, and you're not frozen on my side.
you're frozen on my side.
Okay, gotcha. We can end it here if you want. Is it still frozen?
Yeah,
Okay.
that is bizarre. And it's still recording.
Yeah, but yeah, we
Hold
can
on,
end it if you want.
hold on, hold on. Right.
We're just closing out. I didn't have any additional questions. I was just saying that regarding these last two chapters, it just helps identify a little bit more and kind of understand, and as you pointed out. they're mainly the awareness, the understanding, and then the choice and discernment that allows you to keep or let go uh the attachment or whatever it is that you're particularly delving in as you're looking at this. So that was really good. And then in the level 4, the internalization, just kind of going through those kind of things and understanding a little bit
Yeah.
more.
I'm actually gonna change up my little equation there. So I'm gonna say awareness and then using discernment to build understanding.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking about it because I'm like, oh, that didn't when you described it, I was like, oh,
Well, I wrote
No,
down the big
no, you wrote it down
words.
the way I said it, right?
Yes.
The way that I said it earlier, and now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh, I was like, you don't want to have understanding before discernment because you're using the discernment to build the understanding, right?
Okay. So you need the knowledge to have the just
Well, the knowledge is the what you call it is the awareness.
okay,
Awareness
got it.
is the knowledge, right?
Okay.
I'm aware of what's happening over here. I'm aware of this person saying this. I'm aware of this. Okay, how do I find understanding with this? It's like I have all this information, but I need to discern the information so that I can build understanding of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at this from the third eye, which is awareness, and then the sacral is discernment, and then the understanding is in between.
Ah, okay.
So you need the two to have the one,
Okay.
right? To have the understanding, and then with the understanding, then you can make a choice, right? Once you understand what's going on, you can react in the right way,
Mm-hmm.
right? But without, with just if you just have the information and you just react, there's no discernment. There's no understanding about the
Right.
discernment of it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
There's no wait, let me ask a question. Why is this happening that way? Or,
Yeah. No,
ex
asking the question literally is discerning. You're discerning what you're seeing or what you're perceiving or what you're hearing or what just happened, right? The experience. Um, and the experience itself, the fact that you're watching the experience, you're experiencing it, that's awareness.
mm-hmm.
Now but we turn it internally into ourselves to build awareness around your how you react. You build awareness of different parts of your body,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay, when I'm running, it's like I feel my left foot touch the ground. Okay, I feel my right foot touch the ground. I feel my left foot touch the ground. Okay, now what's happening? Oh, one knee is coming up higher than the other. Okay, there's this building this awareness of my body. What is it doing?
Mm-hmm.
And I give these analogies because I'm trying to teach my athletes how to build this body awareness because a lot of times they'll come and jump and they just run and jump. And I'm like, oh, and they're like, oh, I scratched. I don't know why I scratched. And I'm like, oh, are you even aware of how you're running? Are you running the same way? Well, I went a little faster this time than I did last time. I go, but is your strides the same? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm trying to build that awareness, but the only way they can is by having them do this side, do this side, do it
Mm-hmm.
on this side, do it on this side. Well, this side's weak. Okay, that's more of a reason to do it on this side.
Right.
Right?
Uh-huh.
And you're building without them knowing they're building this mind body awareness.
Mm.
They're having to do this movement and think about doing the movement. What is
Mm-hmm.
it I'm doing with this movement? What does it feel like when I'm doing this movement? Like I'm always asking them these questions. They'll be like, "Oh, did I do it right?" And I'm like, "Did it feel right?" Well, it felt okay. And I'm like, "Oh, well, what felt good about it?" Like I started having them break it down,
Right.
and some people like it. Some people are just like, "Oh, they just want to be told that it's good or bad." And I'm like, "Oh,
Oh,
it's
they
not
don't
a
want to
good or
do the
bad
work.
thing." Well, it's not that they don't want to do the work. They don't understand what the work is about sometimes
Right. Mm-hmm.
because they've never been coached in this fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Like again, like I told you, Zen Athletic Skills was like I'm going to be very methodical with you. I'm going to teach you how to understand yourself. In this skill, in
Mm-hmm.
this specific skill, whatever it is we're doing. Why are we doing Bulgarian squats? Well, because I want you to squat on one leg and then I want you to squat on the other leg. Pay attention to it's like one leg might feel a little bit more balanced, one leg you might be able to go lower on, one leg right. It's like building that awareness, and then you find these imbalances in the body, and then it's like, okay, now you can fix stuff
Mm-hmm.
because you've found these imbalances.
Right. Versus just jumping out there and doing it and
Yeah,
and yeah, exactly. So that's an interesting way of looking at it too. Mm-hmm.
yeah. Because half the time it's like when especially with like triple jump, you jump off of one leg twice, boom, boom, and then you jump off the other leg. Well, guess what happens when you do that over and over and over again? One side gets pummeled, the other side gets like a nice little workout. Like
Right.
it's this thing. So it's like, okay, we're gonna do left, left, right, and we're gonna do right, right, left. What do I gotta do with the other side? I'm never gonna jump with that when I go when we're doing drills. This is what we're doing because when we practice it, we'll practice it with your preferred side.
Right.
But we need balance in order for all of this to work right,
Right.
and so that you don't get hurt.
Uh-huh.
Right? It's like it's this it's a different mindset for that a lot of athletes don't understand. It's like the elites. I guarantee you, the elite sprinters, jumpers, runners, they do this.
Hmm.
They know exactly what's going on with their body. They know exactly how to, they do an A skip, they do it as B skip, they do it a specific way. Like it's like they know, they
Hmm.
understand it, as opposed to just going through the motions. And it's the same thing with ourselves, with, anything we're doing. It's like a lot of times it's, we're doing, people talk about shadow work. Oh, well, okay, I got this list of things that I do for shadow work. All right, now are you actually doing those and understanding and discerning what you're doing? Or are you just going through the list and doing it?
Hmm.
Like there's a difference. There is a difference because you're going to get a different result from doing it one way over the other.
Right. So what's your biggest takeaway from these two chapters today that people can use in their daily life?
This is my biggest takeaway.
Hmm.
So I'm just saying, like right now, it's just make a list of the stuff that you might have attachments to.
Hmm.
Like literally, just make a list of things that you're attached to, whether it's a specific type of clothing or whether it's a specific type of food or if it's a specific type of specifically like, oh, I need to be eating this much protein. Like really look at the things that you're doing. What is it? What is it? Where are your attachments? Because there's attachments in everything, right? A preference is basically an attachment. That's just what it is. Now it's not a good or bad thing. That we don't want to look at these as good or bad things. It's just like, okay, have this attachment. Okay, and then so now you have these attachments, and you rate them as a level one, two, three, four. Like I think we're at level that we're going to be level five this next
Right.
one. Like, can you rate them? And you don't necessarily have to, but it's like you can sit there and take a look at them. It's like, oh, how do you react whenever things don't turn out the way that you think the attachment is supposed to be, right?
Hmm.
How do you feel about that? How do you feel
Hmm.
when you meet people that don't have the same view as you? How do you feel about that? Like really start building using the discernment around it. Building one, becoming aware of the attachment. Right, that's the first piece. Listing it down is becoming aware of the attachment. Now discern each attachment. Take a look at it. Ask the whys. Why do I have this attachment? What does it do for me? Because sometimes we have an attachment because it's something that's actually, well, this is healthy for me, so this is why I do this. I don't drink alcohol anymore because I know it doesn't resonate with me anymore.
Hmm.
It serves no purpose for my life and for the mindset that I want, for where I want to be in my life. So I don't drink anymore.
Right.
I have an attachment to not drinking. Well, I just don't drink.
Right.
Now, before I got to this point to where I just don't drink, I had an attachment. I was like, no, I'm not going to drink. No, I don't want to be around people that drink. Right.
Hmm.
Now it's like, it's okay to be around them, but from a energetic perspective, it gets a little heavy.
Gotcha.
Right. There's
So,
no
so
judgment. You want
on
to
the on
drink, you
the
do
on
your
the
thing.
energy level.
Yes.
Got it.
Well, because so alcohol alcohol allows and if you believe in this stuff, spirits and entities to attach and to control what you do, right? Like
Okay.
like it's a thing. And pick up on this stuff. I see this stuff. I experienced it. I see,
Right. Hmm.
right? Within myself. So that's what I mean by it's heavy for me because it's like I'm like, I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to you anymore. I'm talking to some your whatever is it on you or
Right.
whatever it is, come in, whatever it is, right?
Right.
That once you take drinking and alcohol,
Hmm.
right? Um, so and again, it's not
Right.
I can't say it's a good or bad thing. It's not a judgment thing. It's just it's something that I see
Yeah.
and I perceive, right? Do I
It's
believe this? At first I didn't believe it until I experienced it. So I'm less like, okay, so this is something that's real. Now, does that mean that people shouldn't drink? I'm like, everybody can do what they want to do.
right.
But when you build awareness around it, because some people are attached to drinking.
Hmm.
Some people have to drink. I'm like, it's just not for me.
Right.
Now the funny thing is that people that are attached to drinking, don't really like. Some of them don't like it when you're not drinking with them.
Hmm.
They'll be like, "Hey, you go get a shot. Hey, do this. Hey,
Yeah, it's
try to peer
they make it
pressure.
a group activity, right? Uh-huh.
Yeah, try to
Hmm.
make it peer pressure, and it's like, I never, I was never peer pressure. Never really pushed me to do anything.
Right,
I usually run away from people that are well. I usually run away from the stuff that everybody's doing, you
right.
know. But that's just me. So, long story short, just really, this is about and they call these books self help books, but it really is about building self awareness. Every self help book, whether it says it or not, is all about building self awareness
Hmm.
in whatever area. And it's not just one self awareness. It's like you have so many different aspects of yourself and you're building awareness around all of it
Hmm.
individually and compiled, right? It's not just one thing. And so it's just, it's um, how do I put it? Like the whole idea of like people talk about awakening
Hmm.
and all these other little terms that they use, but there is no really awakening. It's just becoming aware.
Hmm.
Like they coined the term, I think it was in 2020, being woke. Well, most of the people that I saw that were talking about being woke had this a huge attachment to being woke and an attachment to whatever that woke looked like. And next thing you know, they're judging all these people that aren't thinking the same way they're thinking. And oh, you're a terrible person because you didn't want to do this, and you're a terrible person because you don't do. I'm woke. It's like I see the truth. It's like, well, like the reality of anything that is the truth is doesn't care if you got an attachment to it or not. The truth is just the truth,
Hmm.
right? Now the lie wants the attachment. So when you're attached to what you're calling the truth, you're actually turning it into a lie. Because of the truth is like you can't really attach to the truth because it is just the truth.
Right,
There's no reason to attach to it because you can't prove or disprove it, right? But a lie you can actually disprove,
right.
or you can try to prove the lie, but the truth, like there's nothing you can do to prove it or disprove it. Like you just can't.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's no
Uh-huh.
mass. There's no reason to fight for the truth. Like the truth doesn't want you to fight for it. What does it need you to fight for it? Like the truth stands regardless of whether you believe it or not.
Hmm.
So why is everybody looking for truth and finding truth? And then they find some book, some old book from the 18th century, and they're like, oh, well, this is the truth. Well, that was the truth in the 18th century, but is that true right now?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was
Hmm.
perceived by someone, and yeah, they put some stuff together, and there's some skill sets in there. But what they're really teaching you is how to find your truth, not how to find the ultimate truth. There is no ultimate truth,
Hmm.
right? Ultimate truth is that we are.
Yep.
I am whatever follows. I am.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? In this moment. So the only truth is right now. There was no truth back in the day. There was no truth 10 million years ago, right? And there's no truth to seek. The fact that I'm here right now is truth. And if I'm not right in front of you, I'm not there right now, which is true. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I get it.
And yeah, so it's just yeah, I don't know. It goes. There's so many different thoughts practice and again I love learning all this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean all the stuff that I've been through, like it's really good, looking at old texts and old doctrines and old thought processes and philosophies and stuff is like it's great. I go, but there's none of them that I could sit there and be like, oh, this is the truth. Even with these books, like these books that resonate with me so much for agreement. So it's like, but it's a practice. It's not a serum, it's a practice
Hmm.
for yourself. And that's all anyone should be doing. Like I do energy balances for people. I show you I've done readings for you,
Right.
right? It's like I'm showing you,
Hmm.
right? A version of you that it's not judged from my perspective. It's a version of you that it's like that you're putting out there that you've built, right?
Right.
This
Hmm.
version of you. And you get to choose, okay, is this the version that I want to be? Or, okay, this is the version I need to work on certain aspects of your life. So it's like I show you different aspects of your life. Then, okay, if you want to shift this, try this practice. If you want to shift this, try this, right? Here's a tool.
Hmm.
I'm not healing you, I'm helping you to heal. And it's not even, I don't even, the word heal doesn't even, like, the word heal means to stop, right? Doesn't mean to, oh, I healed, this wound healed. I don't know if it really healed. It just, what was the word you used earlier about the cells? They regenerated itself. The
Right.
skin regenerated itself,
Right.
which is what we're calling healing
Right.
or letting go. Um,
Hmm.
oh, I had to heal my inner child. Like, cool. I don't know what that means, but yeah, yeah. There's a lot of terms. There's a lot of terms that I sit there and I think about it. And I'm like, oh, but that doesn't. I'm like, that doesn't take me anywhere.
Right. Hmm.
Like thinking childlike mentally is more of like this freedom of like no judgment, being playful, being able to go in and out of different personalities. Right? It's like playing make believe. That's what it means to be childlike to me.
Hmm.
Not this, oh, my inner child is suffering. Why is my inner child suffering? Is like, why am I still worried about an inner child when I'm an adult at this point? Like, what is
Right.
that? I
Hmm.
don't know what that means. Like, they're like it doesn't resonate with me. That information doesn't resonate with me, but I get what they're getting at, right? I get what they're getting at is like they have a focus on themselves, but they're separating themselves into these pieces.
Right. And then you got to go talk to the little piece and say, this is the little 5-year-old self and tell them what you,
Yeah.
yeah.
So as opposed to, okay, I experienced this when I was this age. I experienced it when I was that age. I've experienced, okay, I no longer need it and letting it go.
Hmm.
They want to go deal with that and go relive that.
Hmm.
Okay. It's shadow work. It's just shadow work. That's all it is. It's just shadow work. And all shadow work is just the existing stuff that we've experienced. And we're going back and it's like, oh, well, I was been holding on to this for 50 years.
Right.
And this is time to let go of that. You know what I'm saying? I was in love
Hmm.
with this person in high school and I'm still in love with this person. You're like, okay, that was like 60 years ago or 30 years ago,
Right.
right? It's 30
You
years
and
ago.
them
It's
have
like, oh,
changed. Right.
right. It's like, so you're different people at this point. It's like,
Hmm.
and they're in this situation, that situation. Why hold on to that?
Hmm.
Why hold on to any of this? That's I'm trying to remember what is that saying? I just saw something the other day about, oh, so PM Dawn. So I got back, I used to love PM Dawn back in the 90s
I did.
because
Me
because
too.
it was like, it was very like mindful lyrics.
Hmm.
And so they got a song called
Is
what
that the
was
one
it?
you
What was that
mentioned
song?
earlier?
No, no, it's a different one. What is that song? Man, I can't remember the name of that song. Let me get the song.
Put the lime in the coconut?
Yeah, put the lime in the coconut. Let me see. Is it this one? I don't know if it's the Ways of the Wind or
Oh, I like that one
Interpretation
too.
Eyes. Yeah, I think it was the Ways of the Wind, and I'll
Mhm.
have to, I might have to go find the lyrics to it.
I had that one on the single cassette. Because I think there's two different versions. There's like a that got on the cassette, and I used to be flipping that thing back and forth.
Ways of the Wind by PM Dawn. There we go. I don't want to hear it. I just want to see the words. Okay. Uh, Star. Yeah. So holding on is like the Ways of the Wind.
Uh-huh.
Where's the chorus? Yeah, holding on. Yeah, holding on. It's like the ways of the wind,
Hmm.
like holding on a Nova star, and then holding on is like the waves of the wind, the constant search for who you are,
Mm.
right? But it's like, but to me, when I hear this and you kind of hear the lyrics, it's like it's holding on to these old ideas of myself, these old, basically the attachments.
Right.
Right? I'm holding on to this past relationship. I'm holding on to this situation that happened to me years ago. I'm holding on to this, you know. Um, so let it go. Let it go. Stop holding on.